Hey everyone, today we will see how well GPT-4 Omni handles writing a trading bot for Binance. We will write code only by GPT requests. Also on July 10th, we are starting a course on programming trading algorithms. Prices are made much more affordable for everyone. We will start from scratch to write trading robots independently. Announcements and detailed information are available on my Telegram channel. Enjoy watching. So we will immediately make a request to GPT. Our bot will be based on the RSI indicator and the crossing of moving averages, EMA indicator. So for this, you need to specify GPT where we will make a request, what we will receive, and what to analyze. So for this, we will definitely refer to Binance documentation. In training, we will go through the documentation in as much detail as possible so that everyone can navigate it and work with it independently. So we will take the candle request. Let's probably just try to take a screenshot. And let's specify the base URL for the request. Now let's describe what we want to get. The initial request will look something like this. I don't use the SDK for requests in GPT because GPT might have outdated data and it might incorrectly use the SDK, so I decided it's better to upload it, specifically the request and what the parameters in this request look like. Let's try to reset like this, so we get an answer. Let's try inserting this coda. For now, it uses one symbol here, which is Bitcoin. G interval is set to 1 hour and the limit of 100 candles will be set. Let's try to just run it for now. So well, everything compiles, everything works. And here I also displayed RSI to check. Here we write RSI. And so far it doesn't meet any condition, so no signal follows. In general, the first request went well. GPT filled it all in without errors. Now we will somehow improve this code. Let's ask to make the program work not with just one symbol, but for example with a list of symbols to perform analysis for each trading pair. We simply make a request. Let's see how HPT changes the code. So here he made a list of symbols. Let's just copy it too. And let's try to output here. Print the symbol and current RSI. Let's just take a look at the RSI. Here we see our sleep is paused for a second. The point of this sleep, GPT wrote, is to not exceed the rate limit of requests. There is some logic in this. If we have a large list of pairs, so in principle for now there is no sense in inserting this, but in principle everything works. Everything is fine. Let's try to remove sleep. In other words, requests are still going, but it takes a long time anyway. So let's ask GPT to make the request asynchronous, so we get results for all our pairs. We make a simple request asking to make our code asynchronous. So we got the code. Let's also copy it, just paste it. And we'll see here as well. As we can see, we immediately receive data for all pairs. Here, we have set the sleep for an hour so that we receive the next result exactly in an hour since we are using hourly candles. It's not very efficient, but in principle, it can serve as a possible implementation option. Now let's ask GPT. Let's specify the request to get all pairs. Since we are using the basic URL for futures, let's make a request to GPT so that it receives a list of all trading pairs from futures and analyzes them in a similar manner. We will also give it a request. We also take a screenshot. Here we just found information on all pairs in the market data endpoints section of the documentation. That is, market data endpoints. This is all open information that is not connected to the account, and we do not need to fill in API keys to get it. So we take just exchange information, that is information about the entire exchange, and here we have all the necessary information on specific pairs, on all pairs. Therefore, we take a screenshot of this request and also copy the response. We specified the response, specified the screenshot, the request, and just wrote what we want to see. So we got the response. Here we have a function that fetches all the characters. Let's just check it, just running it. Let's just print out the list of our symbols. So we will get a list of symbols, everything works. We even got signals for some pairs. We see it here. The characters are there, everything is fine. We got them, and we have signals for 5 pairs. So far we don't have any logic for entering a trade yet. We will add that a bit later. Also, just for fun, let's see how many pairs there are in total. Let's just output the length of our list. So 312 pairs, and our code makes 312 requests for candles simultaneously. And as you can see, we are within Binance's request limits, and the request goes through. Okay, but still, this may not always be the case, and that's why a Websocket exists. We are just connecting directly to the exchange and getting the same candles, but in real time, without violating any limits and so on. Therefore, we can connect WebSockets to each candle and receive candles in real time. We will have a separate URL for WebSockets. As we can see, here we have an F, which means it is for futures. Let's also copy it and specify GPT. Let's find the candle stream now. We also see that it says streams here, which means flows, and it specifically refers to WebSockets. Also, we have various instruction parameters here that we need, and we will just copy this and specify GPT, taking a screenshot. So we specified our screenshot, the base URL for WebSockets, and indicated that we want to see that is after the first synchronous request for candles. We will connect WebSockets for each pair, and after the candle closes, WebSocket will catch it and do a new analysis based on the indicators. So GPT wrote us an answer. Let's copy the code. And as I wrote, for our bot to analyze candles after closing, PTT added a candle close check. We have such a parameter. We have a parameter X, which is responsible for whether the candle is closed. And after we get X true, we will immediately analyze the candles. Let's see if we will get any data. Apparently, we are getting a lot of messages. Here we see which pair we are getting, and here the candlestick data continues, specifically on the last candle. It's not very convenient to display here. Right now we will make a more correct output, but for now we see that we have X folds, for example. So I just did the correct output. Here we see the pair and see if the candles are closed or not. We have exactly 59 minutes now. Let's just display everything here if the candles close. Right now nothing should be displayed. So the candle is coming to an end. Now we should ideally get a message saying the candles are closed. Yes, we receive it. That means true for all pairs. Everything works. Now we can come up with some logic, like we wanted, to analyze the candles after they are already closed. By the way, I just noticed an important point that GPT connected us to minute candles, not hourly ones. That means we will receive the candle close every minute. To get switch closures every hour, we need to specify here 1H, that is 1 hour. Let's also ask GPT to analyze the last crossover we had on the previous candles, specifically the crossing of the averages, so that we determine how the trend is going. We describe the logic we want to see, trend definition, and conditions for entering a position. I would also ask not to add orders for now, because if this is not specified, he could add them. And possibly, they might have been incorrectly written down. Let's just insert the code for now. So we now have a new function against client data, and here we need to determine the current trend. Let's try to run the water. And I just noticed that GPT made a pretty serious mistake which we did not include in our program. It completely removed the request for candles. So now we only connect via WebSocket, and it should accumulate a certain number of candles in it so that we can analyze something. For example, if we analyze hourly candles, we need to wait 14 hours to analyze the same RSI indicator with a length of 14. This is a huge inefficiency of the bot, so let's address it with the Fiverr. We pointed out the error to him. Let's see how he fixes it. Meanwhile, let's just try to run it and see if everything compiles. Alright, the code works, the trend is identified, but it is also done as slowly as we see. Let's try to make the function asynchronous. Let's just write async. And here we will add a coroutine. Making the function synchronous didn't help, as the calculation happens when receiving. When receiving a closed candle, which will also slow down our bot. Go ahead. We should just analyze the candles right after the request. So they asked him to do an analysis before the WebSocket, before launching the WebSocket, and after requesting the candles, so that everything happens as quickly as possible. So we got the answer, copied it, pasted it, and let's run it. Let's see. For some reason, this analysis also takes a long time. GPT did everything correctly, but again, our requests are sequential. Because of this, it takes a long time. Therefore, we need to ask GPT to make it all asynchronous, to execute as quickly as possible. So we received the answer, the updated main function. Let's replace it. And our function for candle analysis. Now let's try running it. Let's see if it works. But everything still works sequentially, meaning there is no speed, and there is no speed because the request for candles is made sequentially. It also needs to be done asynchronously. We talk about this GPT error and ask it to fix it, and finally, everything works. So the part about defining the trend is working for us. Our trend queries are working, but for some reason the rest of the code isn't. Here we see an error indicating the server deviated from the WebSocket connection. Let's see why. Well, actually, first let's ask Chat GPT. So let's take our updated function for connecting to the WebSocket. Let's see if it gets better. I have currently limited our list to 10 characters. It didn't get better. So our mistake was that it said Visual Studio here, and through this URL, the server was rejecting the connection, so we had to use this URL without VS, just listing the streams. So now everything works for us. So now everything is working. We are getting trends, and the WebSocket is also working. The candle closed, and we also get updated trends. So what do we have? First, we make a request for all symbols, all trading pairs on futures on Binance. And based on them, we make requests for candles. Everything happens as quickly as possible, all our code is asynchronous, and we are analyzing futures trading pairs. Next, we connect an asynchronous WebSocket and continue to analyze closed candles for all our selected pairs. We also look at their trend, crossings, and RSI, and wait for a buy or sell signal. And let's now create a small project structure, because everything shouldn't be in one file. Let's create data sorting and transfer our functions that sort all the information there. We will also make file exchange info to get all the information from the exchange there. That is, our pairs, our candles, and also we will create a file with a WebSocket. The calculation of EMA and RSA can also be sent to data sorting. So I noticed an error that the trend is not always determined correctly. So I asked GPT to change the function a bit. Okay, now everything is defined correctly. I checked, so it's an uptrend. We see there was a crossover from bottom to top last time. Checked a few more pairs, everything works, so the video turned out to be quite long. Let's aim for 500 views and 20 likes. Then we'll move to the next part, where I'll add orders here using, of course, GPT chat, and instead of regular signal writings, we'll have real orders. I'll run a beta for a couple of these, I think, of trading, and we'll see how it performs. Also leave your comments, it really helps promote the video and grow the channel. Also remember, on July 10th our training starts. All the details are in the Telegram post, where I've described everything in detail. If you have any questions, message me on Telegram. Friends, also remember that if you need help with project development, you can message me on Telegram, and my team and I can assist you with that.